Imagine you're a young fisherman's daughter on a boat. No, why are you laughing at me?
I'm sorry.
Imagine you're a young girl, the daughter of a fisherman who gets whisked away to the White Tower after she finds out she can channel. Are you happy about that?
Yeah.
Fish guts.
Fish guts. Fish guts, I say.
The next episode is episode 6 of the Wheel of Time, and we have been able to deduce that it is.
What's the name?
Would you like to tell us, Tracy?
Yes. It's the Flame of Tar
It's the
Valon.
Flame of Tar Valon. So
I'm
we've
excited.
got we just wanted to talk a little bit about Siuan Sanche today. We are trialing new software, and since we're here, we thought we might as well talk about something Wheel of Time related.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about
Why not?
Siuan Sanche and maybe some of our hopes, I guess, with this episode coming up.
So this morning you sent me the IMDb list for this particular episode that's coming out on Friday. And at first I read over it and I was like, oh, yay, Swan and Leanne are going to be there. And then I looked over to the side and there's a listing for someone playing, was it Bredon, something starts with a B, Sanche. And I was like,
We're going to get Papa Sanche.
Wow.
It's really exciting.
Unexpected. Would it? Interesting. I'm thinking about New Spring, which I'm sure is shocking. There's one. So while in the tower, Moraine, either as a novice or accepted, her father passed away, right?
Yes.
Would they possibly flip it so that somehow it's Swan's father passing away and somehow that creates an emotional something for her in some way, like but as like character formation?
It's possible. It's also possible that we get this. She's a little bit young, this actress, so I'm not certain that this is going to be Swan's goodbye before she goes to the White Tower. This might just be something to humanize her and show her grit. This could be another cold open, but I have a feeling that it might not be a cold open with young Swan because we haven't actually seen her yet to introduce her that way. It's definitely possible, though. I would definitely be into it as a book reader. I know that as soon as I see this little girl, I'm going to know who it's about. But I'm just thinking about Swan as a young girl. Do you think that she's happy with getting sent to the tower? Do you think this is something that she wants?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Swan always strikes me as the kind of person who's really independent, really self-driven in a lot of ways. And it's really difficult for someone in that mind frame to adapt to a hierarchy like the one that the White Tower puts in place. So no, I don't. I think she's kind of the opposite of Moraine. Like Moraine, especially in New Spring, too. She was kind of excited about becoming an Aes Sedai. Like they threw her a party before she left for the White Tower, and like she was already nobility before she left, so her world was already integrated with the politics, the Desdemar. Like she had an Aes Sedai sister on hand basically to help her adjust to becoming a novice in a way. Like she was kind of gently led into it. And Siuan strikes me as the kind of person who would like kick people who thought they were better than her
Yeah, I
and
could see
be
that.
like, yeah, like even as a little kid, I see her being like scrappy and defiant, and you can't tell me what to do. But then once she like settles down, she's like better than everybody else because she's totally that like driven
She
individual.
almost wears it with a badge of pride, her background.
Heck
Like
yeah.
her
Yeah.
swanisms, people who haven't read the
Mhm.
books won't know about the swanisms, but she has a lot of sayings that she says that are
I'm
always fish related.
I really, really, really want Sophie Okonedo to be like, "Fish guts!" I just want her to say it once. Just
hmm
once.
It's
Yeah.
depending on how it's done, it could come off as kind of cheesy for the TV show,
Yes. Yeah.
but I wouldn't be surprised if they at least give us a Tyrion saying. So something about
Mm.
maybe a silver pike or kind of like they're kind of like
Right.
idioms, maybe.
Mhm. Yeah. It's one of those things that Jordan puts in throughout the books that helps you to define the character you're talking to without having to add a lot of extra to it. So Bail Doman is from Ilion, and people from Ilion speak a certain
Mhm.
way. And so, I mean, in pirate way, if you will. And it just kills me. It kills me. And everyone from Ilion speaks that way. Commoner,
Mhm.
noble, doesn't matter. It do be the way
Yeah.
they talk.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And Tyr is the same way. And Swan carries those things with
It's
her.
almost as if
Like,
no matter how far she rises in
mm-hmm,
her political ascension within the White Tower, the Amyrlin Seat, you
mm-hmm,
can't get any higher than that.
mm-hmm.
She still says
Nope.
these fish sayings almost as
Yeah, she
if
does.
it's her way of kind of asserting where she's from. And like, don't
Yeah.
forget that I was this young girl, the daughter of a fisherman who came from
Yep.
nothing. And
Yeah.
it's a bit of pride, I think, for Swan, despite how
It would
much
it, it would be for
well,
me.
yeah, like despite how far she is in the White Tower, she's still got this kind of gritty backstory where you can kind of imagine that no matter how great she gets at the politics, she's still like in this undercurrent of street savviness as well. So this
Mhm.
is one of these things
Yeah.
that in New Spring
Three.
it gets
At
it
least.
gets compared with Moraine a lot. So there are instances where Moraine will go about doing something one way, which to the reader's point of view isn't a bad way to go about things. They're kind of
Mm-mm.
navigating, doing some secretive
Mhm.
things, no spoilers, but
Mhm.
Moraine will do it one way, Swan will do it another way. And somehow, when they're put together, they kind of become this unstoppable duo where
Mhm.
Moraine is, a noble woman.
Mhm.
Swan's in the alleyway, not taking any guff from anyone. And it's
Right?
just,
Yeah. I want to say one thing that kind of popped into mind while you were talking. Um particularly about Swan carrying that from a lower level
hmm
background and how she holds on to
hmm
that. It makes me think of Landrin and how she does the opposite. So we know from the books that she arrives at the tower having been the daughter of someone who was not well off, who is not noble in any way. And she goes about like making sure that she has the proper accent and she speaks the proper way and she has the proper wardrobe and blah, blah, blah. Like she tries to leave all of those things behind her and it enrages her whenever her facade slips. And Swan is totally the opposite. She's like, I am who I am from the
Mhm.
moment I was born to where I am now. And I love that authenticity about her. So
That's a great word
I think
too
it,
to sum up Swan. She is authentic in a way that
she
some of
is.
the other Aes Sedai might not be.
Just
Yeah.
aren't. Yeah, yeah. In some ways, it makes me think of Anaya, who is not in the show at all, but like how Moraine described her as being one of those people who just said and did the things that she wanted to say and
Which is
do,
kind
and
of this
everybody
big
just,
Aes Sedai no-no.
yeah, like it throws everyone off. Everyone thinks that Anaya must have some sort of ulterior
Just
motive, and
because
Moraine's like the brilliant
because
thing
she
about
is
her.
authentically herself. Like she's not
Yep.
hiding anything. So people are always thinking
Mm-mm.
like, "Oh, is she trying to spin some
Yeah,
Yeah.
advantage for herself in
Yeah.
some way. Yeah, and Anaya's like, nope.
Mm.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
make you enjoy your life a little
Mhm.
bit more. Anaya Sedai is underappreciated.
This is true.
Just saying.
And she shows
Yeah.
up in The Great Hunt.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say in this show, and I got really
No,
excited.
but she shows up around this
She is in the
she
Great
shows
Hunt.
up around the same time as the Lady Amalisa does, and we just got a
Hmm.
confirmation for her being cast.
Ooh, that's
She's
exciting.
gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. The Lady Amelisa is one of those people that I have like a low key crush on
Maureen has a
in the
low-key
book.
intimacy with her. I'm really excited
That's
to see that play out.
true. Oh, that's true.
Because
Moraine.
do you remember when Amalisa is
Mhm.
it's when Swan arrives in Faldara. In the books,
Mhm.
it's a little bit different. They all meet up
Mhm.
in Faldara, but
Yeah.
Moraine calls the Lady Amalisa sister, I believe,
Mhm.
which to
Mhm.
be called sister from a Aes Sedai is a very, very high
Honor.
honor. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah. Especially in a place like the Borderlands where they take, like, what Aes Sedai
and
do
say, yeah,
seriously, and they have a tremendous amount of respect for them. In another place, this might be something that would, like, rankle someone for being called a sister by another Aes Sedai, but in the
it's
Borderlands,
it's high
it's
praise.
it's
Yeah.
a big deal, and the Lady Amelisa is like, "Oh, no. Like,
Yeah.
you can't call me sister," and Moraine is like,
Yeah.
"Pshaw.
Oh, come
Let's go
on.
make out."
Come on, sister. Come on. I do think though that there is a kind of shared background between Amalisa and Moraine. Amalisa
Yeah.
being Lord Agelmar's sister.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
there is that bit of nobility there, even if
Mhm.
Kyrian completely different to the
The
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's two separate things, but there is a bit of an equality there between the two
Mhm.
of them,
Yeah.
even if it's just a little
And
bit.
she's yeah, she's so fierce, like, the Lady Amelisa, you can just feel her fierceness under everything, like, just it's how Robert Jordan writes, and I love that about him. He just gives, like, these little
Mhm.
touches about her character, and you can fill out almost an entire picture of who she is in such a short period of time, and I really like her.
The one thing that I was thinking about Swan showing up in Faldara is
Mhm.
when, no spoilers here, but for some
Woo-hoo.
reason, Lord Agelmar is
Mm.
apologizing to Siuan
Mhm.
Sanche profusely. He is laying
Mhm.
himself at her feet, and
Mhm. Almost
yeah,
literally.
he's thrown himself on the ground in front of her
Mhm.
apologizing, and
Mhm.
the way that Swan kind of handles the situation is so great because not only do you get to see her roots like throughout everything she
Mhm.
does and her background,
Mhm.
but she is also a proud Aes Sedai. And she's just
Mhm.
like, arise, like, get up, like, you're
Yeah.
embarrassing yourself. This is nothing.
Just
Tis but a
stop.
scratch. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's,
She's cut herself worse
yeah,
scaling fish or something like
exactly,
that, you know?
exactly. So
Something to do
Mhm.
with fish.
So, despite
Always.
her background, she isn't afraid to show her rank and to show
Yeah.
her power. And
Mhm.
she could possibly like she could have been written a different way where
Absolutely.
she might feel maybe insecure in her position despite or maybe because of her background, but that is not
Mhm.
Swan at all.
Mm-mm. No, not even a little bit. No.
There might be a little bit of a difference between Swan when she's in the hall of the tower versus Swan behind a closed door.
Mm. Definitely.
What
Definitely.
do you want to say about that?
I'm just thinking, oh gosh, I don't wanna say too much because some of the things are spoilers, but, like, she learned well while she was with Moraine for several things. Like, they were best friends, they were pillow friends when they were novices and accepted together. Like, that's in New Spring, so that's 20 years before everything that's happening. New Spring is my personal Bible. That's 5, 6. We need a counter. Fuck. Um, that book just gives so much to us. I don't think people understand or appreciate it enough. Anyway, I'm in particular thinking about what happens towards the middle end of the series and her role as the Aes Sedai transition from all of the things. God, there's so much that I can't say. Okay, I'm just gonna scrub that part.
Okay, scrub it.
What I really want to say is like how she goes from accepted to Aes Sedai to running the Blues eyes and ears
Mm.
to becoming the Amyrlin Seat.
When we
Like,
first see her become an Aes Sedai, she gets
mhm,
tasked with taking part in the Blue Aja's Eyes and Ears network.
which is the best in the tower.
So this is their own personal spy outfit within
Spy
yeah, within
system.
their Aja, and it is
Mhm.
probably the most behind the scenes kind of
Mm, like
yeah,
mover of what's happening.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, good point. Good
So
point.
not only is she fierce and powerful and have a street
Mhm.
savvy background, she's also incredibly clever at puzzles and
Yes.
putting pieces
Yes.
together. So she might not
Yep.
have that political Mar background like Moraine, which is
Mhm.
the Wheel of Times, Game of Houses, similar to
Yeah.
the Game of Thrones
Yeah. Yeah.
political
Yeah.
shenanigans.
I think of like Elizabeth the First Spy Network, and how she used that to promote herself within Europe at a time when England was still not considered very powerful. So the Blues kind of take that to their advantage as well because they are one of the smaller
Mhm.
Ajas. And so their ability to have this kind of access to information, that's like their secret
Everywhere
weapon.
you
You even
go,
said it.
there will be
Mhm.
someone that is there to maybe help a little bit. And this is
Sorry.
even something that Moraine brings up, or that made me think of Moraine when
Mhm.
she says to Viren in the Three Rivers, she has sources.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it does help the TV show out a little bit because it can kind of give them this easy, like, we know
Yep. "Hey,
because,
look,
yeah.
here." Yeah, because
Yeah.
this. All I was thinking of was when Swan goes to find a blue agent,
Mm.
and the blue agent is like, "What are you here for?" And Swan tries to, like, get her to understand that she's, like, tapping her for information, and the woman isn't like, they're in an inn, and it's raucous, and there's some girl who's, like, her clothes is kind of falling off of her and she's basically can dancing on top of a table. And so this woman is like, "Show me your legs, girl." And Swan's like, "What the fuck?" And she ends up getting the information from this agent, but like the way that that innkeeper went about doing it in that particular scene had me cracking up so hard, and it still does. It still does. I love that scene.
She will she will do a lot of things to get what she wants, put it that
Yes,
way.
she will. Yeah, she definitely will. She's a character worth having in the
Sh
series. I will be so upset if they end her character arc too
Without
soon.
too much of a spoiler, I think that down the line, Swan and Egwene share a very special relationship. We don't know how this is going to play out on the TV show. We can only guess. We don't know how long Sophie Okonedo will be part of the cast.
Yeah, on the
She's a
show.
I mean,
Mhm.
incredibly talented actress. I hope she stays as long as possible because she's great just from the little bits that I've seen so far.
I'm going to die if Sophie and Rosamund have
Pillow friend?
a smooch
Yeah.
session.
Do you wanna explain
I will
what
just
pillow friends are, just in case?
Sure. So in the White Tower, among the novices and accepted, there are very close friendships that develop, and sometimes those friendships become
Then
more
platonic? Yeah.
intimate. Yeah, yeah. And so pillow friends is basically like the polite Aes Sedai way of saying a female sexual
Mhm.
couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, yeah. So it's kind of a cute way of saying it
It
too.
actually
You
is.
know? It's adorable. Like when you think about it, like you think like I immediately think pillow talk for some
But
reason,
it's the
and
same
then they
thing,
have it be
like
pillow
yeah,
friends.
yeah.
Yeah. Like there's something like kind of sweet about
Mhm.
it. And really, when you think about the way that the novices and accepted are treated in the White Tower, the idea of pillow friends isn't just about the sexual connection. It's also about
Companionship.
the yes, like Swan and Moraine's friendship in New Spring um is so relatable and heartwarming, and there are just so many moments in there, but you never get a moment of like anything approaching what would be considered a sex scene
No, mm-mm.
in New Spring
It's
between the
very
two of them.
PG, but there also are very strong moments of love there and companionship.
Mhm.
They have a really tight bond, and not only are they the
Mhm.
best of friends, they really rely
Mhm.
on each other throughout their rise in the White Tower. And I would imagine it would be a
Yep.
lonely place being sent away as a young
Mhm.
woman and having pretty much your identity kind of stripped away from you as a novice.
About like their
Okay, I have a
relationship.
question. How do you
Please.
think things are going to go between Swan and Moraine and Logain and the other Aes Sedai that were responsible for
Mm,
Loghain's gentling?
I don't
Great
know.
answer.
But I'm well, okay, so the reason why I don't know is that I can see it going in several different
Okay.
directions. Um, what I hope for is like a public display of anger and
A behind. Okay.
chastisement,
Yeah.
but then behind the scenes, everything, and probably just Swan and Moraine.
Hmm.
Um, a discussion about how he wasn't the dragon. Moraine has found the dragon, and maybe even like a touch on their discussion in Faldara.
Okay. Okay.
Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that's what I would want to see happen. Will that happen? I don't know because it could go completely differently.
I
So,
think what's most intriguing is that in the TV show, this is all going down within the White Tower and not in Faldara.
mhm.
So will Moraine and Swan be able to really have this kind of behind the scenes moment? I feel like they would, but
Mhm.
it would also be a lot harder for Moraine to kind of keep these kids secret.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's possible that Nynaeve, since she's already left the tower, doesn't
Right.
come back. Is it possible that Nynaeve just
Right.
stays in the inn and Moraine comes out and finds them and then they leave? Is Moraine
Mm. That seems possible. Like, I don't see Nynaeve wanting to leave Matt knowing how sick he is.
right?
And I can see Moraine getting mad enough where she's like, "Young
Yeah,
lady,
yeah.
if you don't go to the White Tower right this instant," like,
Well, okay. Spoilers. If if you don't want to be spoiled of anything in the books, like, subscribe, but say goodbye.
yeah, good idea. Good idea.
But I don't see how they're going to heal Matt alone. I don't know how
Yes.
Moraine could do it herself. Is it
Yes.
possible that Nynaeve will be included in this? Is it possible that
Mm.
Moraine has a confidant, someone that she can trust to come help her with
Mhm.
this? I have so many questions on how they're going to do this, and we've only got a couple of evenings until it's here. I think the next 3 episodes are going to be great.
I agree.
I just have a feeling that once we leave Tar Valon, things are gonna just be crazy again. I mean, we've
Mhm.
got all of the slaughter
Mhm.
at the two rivers, and what we know happens in Faldara in the books
Mhm.
is Padan Fain shows up again, but Swan is there. It's so hard
Mhm.
to like kind of think about.
Well, and I'm thinking of Eye of the World at the moment, and, like, the end of Eye of the World crossing over the battle that Rand is having with the Dark One, and the battle that is happening with the soldiers who had left Faldara, and how
It's so
he
weird.
What?
Just how like, okay, the string that's connected to
That
Baalzaman
little pool of sight. Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
Rand
yeah.
like cuts the clean stream of
Yeah.
Sidene. It's so
Mhm.
confusing, and I've heard from so many people like, look, I've read this chapter multiple times and it just doesn't make any sense. And
Yep, it can get a little rough.
yeah, but I'm hoping that maybe they pull back some of the stairways in the sky, the threads
Mm.
to the Alzamon. There's a
Yes.
lot of stuff
Yeah.
that I just
Those
can't
things don't really
picture. I mean, I couldn't really picture
I
it in
don't
my head, so I don't know exactly how they're gonna do it on screen, which makes me think they probably won't.
Yeah, yeah. The CG that would have to go into that would be I don't know, or they could just
Right.
reimagine it the way that
They
they've
would
done the
have to
leaves, which is kind
they would
of
have to change
what I
it big
expect.
time.
Yeah. And I don't
Mhm.
mind. I really still wanna see, like, the procession of soldiers leaving for the battle in the Blight at the same time that, like, Rand and Moraine and crew are heading out towards finding the Eye of
Yeah,
the World.
yeah.
Mostly because I just wanna see the Faldaran soldiers being, like,
Kicking some
total
total, yeah,
badasses.
shadow spawn.
Yeah, yeah, like another big battle scene because we haven't really had, like, our first big
Okay, we've seen a
scene.
slaughter, we haven't seen a battle, like, we haven't seen trained
Mm-mm.
soldiers yet, we've just
Nope,
seen
not
the
yet.
shadow spawn wiping the floor with some country folk, so, like
Yeah, yeah, and, like, the moment with Loghain's followers when they, like, tried to free him and whatnot, like,
That was like a
Close.
skirmish. It wasn't
Yeah,
it didn't feel
it was like a
planned.
little it was a mini battle.
That one
Sorry,
didn't really
sorry.
feel choreographed, though. It just kind of felt like, "Okay, and run." Like, you know?
To the
Yeah,
dragon! That's the whole
yeah,
plan!
like, it didn't really look like they were leaderless. They were kind of a leaderless
Yeah,
army, so it was, like,
yeah,
scattered about. But with
yeah,
Faldara, I envisioned something totally different,
yes. Very organized, very
methodical.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, like, kitted out to the hilt, everything. I mean, they are soldiers through and through, and I can't wait to see them.
on that note,
That
should we wrap
note.
it up?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let's be done.
We will be back with more episodes on the bonus content.
Mhm.
So be ready for Manetheren,
Mm,
and that one's going to be so much fun. That one will be spoiler free.
yes. Yeah.
So, with that, we say goodbye and thanks for joining us on the road to Tar Valon.
Yes. Everything that you said.
Perfect.
Say goodbye,
Bye,
Tracy.
Tracy.